Welcome back, guys. Unknown003 here, coming at you with our first tier list in a long time, really. So this time I'm going to be bringing us my personal tier list of my favorite Call of Duty Zombies maps. So just to avoid any kind of confusion, I'm going to be going through the zombie maps from Treyarch Zombies, and they are specifically going to be from World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I decided not to add Cold War because honestly, after Black Ops 4 specifically, I kind of just faded away from the zombie scene for a while. But then, you know, thanks to this channel, I've been kind of having a spark reignited to actually get back into the series. But yeah, like, as of right now, this is going to be strictly Treyarch Zombies, but up to the end of Black Ops 4, because honestly, my recollection of those maps are pretty much the most abundant. And I thought about adding D Machina because I did do or play with that one a lot, but ultimately it's like, oh, I'll leave it pass. If it were up to me, I would honestly put it in pretty good, if I'm being real. But anyways, that's the intro, that's the prelude. We are going to be going from release order of, you know, all the maps. So, what a better way to start than with the original Nacht. So, first things first, I didn't play through the World at War maps until a little later. My start was actually on Kino, like fresh when Black Ops 1 got released. But what I can say about the original Nacht is the fact that we obviously had no real expectations for how Zombies was going to turn out as a community, because it was just more of a side thing that had no expectations in general. But obviously, thanks to the support that we had as a community and how quickly popular it became, obviously they decided to capitalize off of it and keep chugging that train even to this day. So, but for Nacht itself, very simplified. Obviously, there was no introduction of perks, pack-a-punch, the Bowie knife, the claymores, nothing. Like, nothing at all. It's just the basic find the mystery box, which is always going to be in a single location, and pick up some wall weapons, and then go to town, survive as long as you can, and call it a day. The zombies were kind of easy to run around because they weren't as aggressive as compared to like Verruckt especially. But obviously Nacht is considered one of those box maps because it basically is. You know, it's a singular building with two stories, and you had very little expectations of trying to survive long periods of, you know, like high round attempts basically. But honestly, as much respect as I have for Nacht, I have to put it in average, because although people would consider it incredibly boring because there's little to do, I could still give it the respect because of the fact that I had no expectations whatsoever. And honestly, sometimes less is more, you know, and we'll be looking into that a little later, trust me. So now we're going to be bringing it to Verruckt. So this one I have probably played the least, just in the World at War map trilogy. On it, and if I'm being honest, a lot of my experience with the original 4 maps comes from the Black Ops 1 Resurrection Pack when all of these were brought in. But yeah, like with Verruckt, the zombies were definitely a lot more aggressive in the World at War version. They were harder to freaking evade. But, you know, the perks were introduced in this, the bouncing Bettys were introduced, and also the traps. You know, like the electric traps that were kind of littered around the map. But I apologize, but I gotta put it in meh. It's, you know, it's whatever. I'm not really a personal big fan of the map, and not really much to say for me personally, man. Like, I'm sorry. you know, to the Verruckt fans, but yeah. And I know I kind of just glanced over the whole tier listing, but yeah, I'll make it quick. God tier, obviously the best. You got pretty good, average, meh. Kill It With Fire is more of a meme pick, which is going to be designed for a specific map. But we'll get there when we get there. Anyways, Numa. This one, okay, this one could be cheating, because although I didn't play a lot of the World at War Numa, I did put a lot of time on the Resurrection Numa. And if you guys remember, this is actually the Numa where you could do the out of the map glitch if you prone by the, I think it was like one of the fishing huts in the corner. And if a zombie goes on top of you, you could actually swim under the map. And then you could camp on top of one of the huts or a specific rock or like a muddied little hill, and then just train the zombies from there. It was actually really fun to do, and sometimes it would work, other times we would just get stuck there and you wouldn't be able to do anything at all. But Numa introduced the Wonder Waff, I believe. Yeah, it did. And with that, like some interesting mechanics with, you know, like the Flogger trap, which is definitely one of the more popular traps in the series. And then that little, I don't know what you call it, but it's the little transportation thing that would take you from the top of the map to like one of the other areas. I don't remember too much, I'm not gonna lie. I know I did this map not too long ago on my channel, but in terms of Numa as a whole, which I am going to put it as a whole, honestly, I would also put it on average. But I do like it more than not. So I could say that at least. And it's almost close to being pretty good because, again, you know, a lot of interesting things that you could do in the map. You know, the out of the map glitch, I think, is what kind of elevates it more. But that's more of an accidental addition to it, because I'm pretty sure that's not exactly what Treyarch was trying to do on purpose. But yeah, Riese, the last hurdle of World at War, and honestly, pretty damn good. You know, I feel like if you want the Zombies experience, I'd say go for Riese, because opening Pack-a-Punch is pretty easy to do in this map. And honestly, the map isn't too confusing to figure out. And ultimately, this is where the... oh yeah, the Hellhounds were introduced in Numa, what was I thinking? But yeah, like, because you got Pack-a-Punch, you got the 4 perks, you got the Catwalk, which is a very popular place to, you know, camp and just take out the horde. And yeah, honestly, that's about as good as you could get for a simple zombies map. So yeah, that's gonna transition us into what should have been DLC 4 of World at War, but honestly, I'm kind of thankful that it wasn't the case. So Kino. This is where I got my start. And I remember being, man, how old was I? I was a young teenager around the time this came out, and my cousins had me introduced to just playing zombies in general. I got into the Call of Duty scene around this time, and yeah, Kino had a lot of replayability for me. So much so that I became a fan because of this map, and I've had very good memories of it since. I mean, who has all tried proning right in front of a boatload of zombies and then just going to town with a thunder gun? Like, some little things, watching them get yeeted all across the stage and the map is just so fun. And then obviously they had more Easter eggs that you could do, and you learned a little bit more lore with what was going on for the lore nuts out there. But yeah, man, Kino, is honestly one of those great maps that is very easy to get into, very easy to understand, and has definitely one of the easiest ways to open Pack-a-Punch, which is linking the pad, teleporting, bam, Pack-a-Punch is right in front of you, and then you just go to town. So we're beginning Black Ops 1 with a bang, with pretty good. I would honestly have it over to Riese, so that's where we're going to put it. 5 is one of those maps that I did not like at first, because it's mainly due to the fact that I found it very difficult to go through. And yes, I was a casual. Not very good at zombies at first, but I really got to appreciate it a little bit more as I got older. Which, yeah, I know it's kind of crazy to think about, but I mean, what? 2011, like 13 years ago? Woo, mama. We are getting old. But anyways, with 5, or no, it's 14 years, bro. I'm tripping. But anyways, with 5, you got to play some, you know, political figures. You had Castro, you got McNamara, you got JFK, and then you got Nixon, which, you know, obviously it was a one-time thing for those kinds of characters, but it was fun. You know, they had some quirky dialogue. Obviously, with the main Ultimus characters, they are probably the peak of the Zombies characters. But I did feel like the political figures in 5 did have their own sort of uniqueness on their dialogue as well. Plus, you know, a piece of history. But no, it was cool playing inside the Pentagon. You had the 3 levels. And, you know, most people would try to train on the 2nd level, which was the war room. Like the bottom level of the war room, of course. And the Winter's Howl, it did get a lot of shit for not being very good. Thankfully, Classified made it a lot better. But yeah, like, honestly, as for 5, I think it's an average map. You know, I don't think it's anything special, but I also don't consider it like a bad map for me personally. So yeah, I am comfortable leaving it there. I would honestly put it over Nacht, personally. So now we're going into Ascension. So this was considered one of the easiest maps in Zombies history, because there were a lot of areas that were kind of open for you to train. You know, like some of the main spots is like that specific open area by the lunar lander, one of the landers, close to where PhD was. And then also after you had the rocket launched, you know, that essentially opened Pack-a-Punch right there. Those were like 2 really good spots to train. But as for Ascension itself, you know, they brought back the ray gun. You had the Gersh devices. You had the, and don't kill me by the mispronunciation, but the Matryoshka dolls. Like, those were very fun to use in the map, although very risky if you don't have PhD. But yeah, this was one of those maps that I did play through a lot, because it was easy to understand. It had the knife lunge glitch, which is, you know, very reminiscent of Shino Numa, to where you can get to a spot where the zombies actually can't hurt you. But as for Ascension, I would personally put it at pretty good. Mainly because there's a lot of replayability for me. The Easter egg song, very good. And honestly, it was a unique map, you know, despite it being based off of, you know, the campaign mission and also the multiplayer map launch, I believe was what it was called. So yeah, I have a good spot for Ascension, bro. Like, for real. Now, Call of the Dead. Call of the Dead. Yeah. This is honestly, I have to think about this one. Okay. So here's my take. Call of the Dead is pretty damn good. And you got the... It's another one of those maps where you get to play as celebrities, but this time, actors that, you know, mess around with like the horror-ish genre, and like the supernatural. Because you got Robert Englund, you know, who was known for being Freddy Krueger back in the late 80s, early 90s days, even the 2000s. You had Michael Rooker, who became very prominent because of his role as Merle in The Walking Dead. You had Danny Trejo, who, you know, for the Mexican community, very well known as Machete, which is ironic considering the weapon he uses in the cutscene. And then Sarah Michelle Gellar, who honestly very prominent in the Buffy series. So with those 4 characters, and honestly the fact that the original 4 is stuck behind this door and they needed your help to essentially get them taken, you know, like teleported elsewhere, very funny to me. And the dialogue in between that is very hilarious as well. But yeah, everyone knows that this map is specifically a pain in the ass to deal with. Damn, I forgot his name. George Romero. Yeah, he was a pain in the ass to deal with, and I'm sure the rest of the community knows that. Although, admittedly, I do believe that he does play an important role, like, in that map, because you're not really meant to settle in a map like this, because, you know, it's taking place in the frozen tundras of Siberia, and honestly a very unique map. Very unique, because, you know, you had segments where your vision would get very fogged because of, you know, like the Arctic winter, but then you would have moments of the air kind of clearing out, so you could actually see more than 5 feet away. But yeah, aside from that, Call of the Dead is a very unique map. I don't think there's any other map quite like it. So for those reasons, I am also going to put it pretty good. Very good map, I would say. Shangri-La, which, I mean, not to toot my own horn, like, surprisingly the most viewed video on my channel, which I never would have anticipated. Shangri-La is also one of those, like, unique maps as well, but also infamously one of the most difficult. There is little to no places to train around, bro. Like, you'd have to be smart with your movement. You would need PhD was a freaking priority in this map, especially if you wanted to rock the Mustang and Sally, and of course the baby gun, which very fun to use, very funny to use, and definitely worth using. But with Shangri-La, you know, you obviously had the Shrieker zombie, the Napalm zombie, which could screw you up pretty damn good if you're close. And yeah, and Pareidolia, honestly, one of my favorite zombie songs, you know, like the original zombie songs. So Shangri-La, as difficult as it is, I don't personally like have it on my higher ups in terms of the zombie map, so I gotta put it in average. I don't hate it, but I'm not exactly a big fan of it myself. I really do love that it's like in a jungle-ish setting, you know, like the Himalayas. So I'll give it brownie points for that. Beautiful sunset vibe to it, but ultimately not really one that I play a lot. So, and yeah, capping off the Black Ops 1 zombies is Moon. This one is, I feel like this one has some of the biggest polarities in the community, because I know that there are a lot of fans that really enjoy Moon, and I know that there's some that really hate Moon because of specific reasons with the astronaut, which, you know, obviously if he grabs you, he will headbutt you, and you essentially get teleported somewhere else on the map and lose a perk, like a random perk. And then also the fact that the excavators can... I'm not putting in a killer with fire, by the way. It's just a placeholder. But, yeah, the excavators can really be a hindrance, too. Especially if you're trying to rock the hacker. And that's the thing, man. If you rock the hacker, you gotta deal with not being able to breathe on those, like, open space areas. So, very risky to use. But honestly, the hacker has an insane, like, amount of variety on how to use it. Like, it's crazy. Like, a lot that comes to my head. You can return perks with it. You can open doors way cheaper. You could re-spin the box. You could actually spawn in a box on a location if it's not, even if it's not there. You can hack a power-up in front of you to make it max ammo. You could hack Pack-a-Punch so that way you close the cage and actually have time to use Pack-a-Punch. Like, a whole ton of different things that you can do. And not to mention with the QED device, it does a lot of more random stuff. I feel like Moon is just like the most RNG you could get with zombie maps. The more I really think about it, yeah, it's crazy. But honestly, in terms of setting, I don't really think you're gonna find a map quite like this. It's taking place on the moon, and not to mention the crazy cliffhanger Easter egg blowing up the Earth, you know, which will transition us into Black Ops 2. Moon. Damn, bro, this one's tough for me, because although I did play through Moon a lot, I did also not really enjoy the setbacks of like the excavator and the cosmonaut. But you know what? Yeah, honestly, pretty good. I have some really good memories about this map, which is why I decided to just elevate it a little bit. So, oh boy, here we go. Here we go, guys. And that's the end of the video. All right, so let me say some good things about it, I guess. I appreciate what they were trying to do with the map. Like, honestly, because with a lot of the things that they do with it, they made it the biggest map in Zombies history, which honestly I think that still holds up, right? However, a lot of those times where you miss the bus and you have to move around and you got to deal with those stupid denizens, the map is pretty ugly. Like, it's orange and brown, not really the best kind of combination of colors that you want in a map, but that's what you got. And I feel like a lot of the map is more running around than it is actually playing it, which, you know, definitely gives me loses some points there. Like, I gotta keep it real, you know, I gotta keep it plainly honest. So for those reasons, I would consider TranZit as one of the worst maps of all time. And, you know, I hate to break it to you TranZit fans, but I gotta be real, you know. So, like, I'm not going to be a contrarian. I'm not going to be one of those guys that are different. I am literally going to be saying what I feel. And despite it being either a popular or an unpopular opinion, just got to keep it real, bro. You have to. So, Bus Depot. This is basically the Nacht of Black Ops 2. In the sense that you have a very small map, which honestly is 2 rooms, which is kind of crazy. You got no perks, no Pack-a-Punch. It's just bare bones zombies. Survive for as long as you can. However, it is significantly worse than Nacht, in my personal opinion. So, bam. I'm sorry. I feel like there is more stuff to do with TranZit than there is in Bus Depot, and although it is time consuming, at least there's things to do aside from just open a single door, grab some weapons for the box, and then that's it. You know? Because as much as I like simple maps, I'd like there to be at least some things to do throughout the map. So, farm. This one, they actually have perks added to it, but still no Pack-a-Punch. You could go around the farm, which is definitely bigger than Bus Depot by like 3 times the amount, I believe. I would put farm also a killer with fire. I'm sorry, but that's my God's to honest truth. A little worse than TranZit, but better than Bus Depot. Town is probably the best part of TranZit, let's be honest. Well, in my opinion, I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna make any like I'm not gonna make anything I say like the objection here. So, town. You know, it's crazy to go from TranZit to this when I really think about it, because some remnants of TranZit really does go into town, and obviously you got the cracking floors, you gotta deal with the stupid lava, which, you know, right in the middle of Pack-a-Punch, that's like right there. But even despite that, town really does feel like, okay, this is the map that should have been TranZit. And even if it is a small-ish map, it's still very simple to understand. You got, you know, it's a risk and reward thing for Pack-a-Punch being right in the middle of like a lava pool. So, yeah, I'm happy with putting this in average, if I'm being honest. And there you go. And you know what? I'm sorry, Shangri-La. I can't. I have it at average, but I gotta be honest. Did not put a lot of time in Shangri-La. I'm sorry, but that's my truth. That is my truth. So, what we got here? Zetsubou should not be over here. That should be over here. There we go. Okay, so Nuketown Zombies. This is another one of those RNG maps where, honestly, the cool part about the perks is the fact that they fall out of the mushroom cloud and they just fall and land on any random part of the map, and you don't really know what kind of perk you're going to get first. You have the chance of getting Pack-a-Punch very early. You have the chance of getting Juggernaut really early as well. But you also have a chance of getting Juggernaut very late, by like the 15s and 20s, which very difficult if you're not trained. So Nuketown, I believe, is a pretty good, simple, hard map to go through. Like, if you want to be good at training, go with Nuketown. Because it's going to force you to train better. It's going to force you to not have to rely on Juggernaut sometimes. And you just got to rely on your movement skill so that you can evade the zombies. And the fact that the M27 is only available in this map kind of irks me, because it's like really good in it, if my memory serves me correctly. Which, I mean, hell, I played this map, what, like a few weeks ago now? So, yeah, Nuketown Zombies has a good amount of difficulty and simplicity. And not to mention the fact that it is based directly off of the explosion from the multiplayer Black Ops 1 map, which is, you know, some cool lore. I'll still put it at average, but I am also going to put it above 5 Nacht in Town. And I am going to put Town above 5. If I were to play in between the two, yeah, honestly, I would probably put Nuketown over Town. So, yeah. Die Rise. I'm sorry, guys. Meh. I don't really have a crap ton of things to say about the map. I gotta keep it real. The Solidifier is definitely the best part about the map, as well as the AN94. In fact, those were the two weapons that I relied on heavy because they are both pretty damn good. But if I'm being honest, as unique as it is for the sense of it, of most of the map being vertical, kind of boring and honestly time consuming for me. Not really big in the RNG aspects of Die Rise because you're waiting way too long in the elevators to actually go to where you want to be. So, yeah, not really much to say about Die Rise. I'll put it above Verruckt, but that's it. Yeah, that's it. Now, we go into some of the heavy hitters, bro. Mob of the Dead. Yeah, so with this taking place in Alcatraz, pretty cool, right? But the fact that you have this unexpected storyline that became super interesting to the community. You know, with like the four mobsters. What is it? Sal, Phil, Sal, Finn, Weasel, and then Billy. Yeah, the story from those guys actually became like super interesting. And, you know, honestly, Where Are We Going? One of the better songs in the series. Mob has so much to do. Like, it can be very time consuming. You know, I'm going to give the casuals this, like, for the casual fans. It can be time consuming. And honestly, there is a lot of setup to be had in the map. I'll be honest. But the setup becomes worth it because when you get stuff like the Golden Spork that becomes a one-hit melee kill until like round 30, when you get the Hell's Retriever and upgrade it to the Redeemer, you know, the blue tomahawk, that at full charge becomes infinite damage, so you can literally one-shot kill for as long as humanly possible that you survive the map. And not to mention the Blundergat, you know, the Vitrolic Withering when you upgraded it and put it in the Acid Gat. Like, super fun to use, bro. Like, this map is creepy to look at, but very fun to watch. And even gameplay, too. Not to mention Brutus, you know, he's an imposing figure, shakes your screen whenever he runs. So, Mob of the Dead, truly one of my top 3 favorite maps of all time. Welcome to our first God tier pick, Mob of the Dead. And don't worry, very soon you're going to get some company. Alright, so we're going to be talking about Buried now. Buried, I feel like, well, for one, it is definitely one of the more easier maps to kind of figure out because so long as you got, you know, like the wonder weapon of the map, the Paralyzer, as well as the exclusive perk, which was Vulture Aid, you were pretty well defended, you know, because you got the zombie stank and, you know, being inside it kept the zombies away from you. But if you knew how to do the Paralyzer trick, you know, simply tapping the trigger, and you will last high rounds with that alone. But honestly, there really isn't another map quite like Buried as well. Like, very unique, being under Africa, like this coal mine sort of gimmick to it. It's very unique, and obviously the whole spooky feeling being inside the mansion with the widow. So honestly, pretty good brownie points. Although, admittedly, I still I would still... Damn, this is tough for me. I am trying to figure this out proper. Flip up of a coin. Heads or tails? Heads or tails? Yeah, you know what? I'll give it its credit. I will give it its credit. Buried is a unique map. Has a lot of very interesting things to do in it. The maze could be a pain in the ass. But also the fact that you can kind of hover a bit with the Paralyzer is pretty cool. So I'll definitely give it that. So now we go into the second edition of God tier. Don't even have to think about it. Origins is also like, it's my number 2, bro. It is so freaking fun to play. And damn, do you feel like a god when you use those elemental staffs. And then the 3 giant robots, you know, coming in. They could be pretty annoying at times, especially if you're trying to fill in like the little soul chests, you know, so that you could use the powerful melee attack. Hell unique stuff. And honestly, Origins has definitely one of the better Easter eggs in the series as well. It's not incredibly difficult, but it is damn well worth it. Especially if you want to do high run attempts inside the crazy place to where those rock walls will stop dropping in on you after you complete the Easter egg. So I will give it that, at least. So Origins, also the introduction of the Primus group, which is essentially the younger versions of the original characters. You know, with Nikolai, Tak, Dempsey, and Richtofen. Very unique, and has one of the better Easter egg songs too as well, even though, you know, Avenged Sevenfold music is a copyright nightmare, but no pun intended for, you know, the fans. You consider me one of them, by the way. But Origins, hella good. The mud is definitely annoying, I'll give you that, but honestly, I could live with that. So yeah, Origins easily got tier for me. Easily. So now, we're going into Black Ops 3, which, you know, the whole Gobblegum fiasco might have tampered with it a bit, but I'm not really going to be thinking about those things when I think of these maps. Shadows of Evil is the home, probably the most overpowered wonder weapon of all time. You know, that being the Apothecon Servant. But even despite that, that map is fun to play too, bro. Like, a lot of places to kind of discover. But also, with the Margwas, they could be pretty annoying to deal with as well. But I just gotta give BO3 credit for actually having shotguns be viable and like really good in this. Hell, a lot of the weapons are really good except for maybe the XM53, which was the rocket launcher. But that aside, I feel like Shadows of Evil was a very good connection with Mob of the Dead, and that's intentionally so, considering in canon they take place in the same dimension. But with Shadows, although you do have a different or like a very similar color scheme with Town, I feel like with Shadows, I am able to look past that a little bit and actually appreciate the Apothecon setting, you know, with like the squid in the sky, especially after you open Pack-a-Punch. So, for those reasons, I would also put Shadows of Evil pretty good. So much so that I will put it right under Call of the Dead. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. So the Giants, which, you know, admittedly is basically a remake of the Riese. I feel like with the Giant, that one is like, I can't even explain it to you, because it's literally the same map. I'll give you that. But some of the Easter eggs that you could do in it does end up being worth something. So there's 2 on the top of my head that I could think of easily. The first one is, you know, like using one of the robot heads to actually melt the ice that gives you access to, it's either Deadshot or Stamina, which is what I personally hope to get. And then, what was the other one? The Monkey Bomb one, right? Oh, no, it's for the Annihilator. So that one's pretty cool too. But yeah, with the Giant, I feel like it's just one of those easy maps to just go through. It is the go-to, especially in Black Ops 3, if you want a simple map, easy one to understand, and especially if you've played through Riese before, you are not going to be like a stranger to this at all. It's going to feel very familiar. So I gotta put it up pretty good as well, man. I can't help it. So much so, I'm gonna put it, believe it or not, above Shadows. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I know it's crazy to kind of think, but I gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real. So, Der Eisen, in case you didn't already know, Der Eisen is my top zombies map of all time. The setting is absolutely beautiful. I love the fact that you're playing in a medieval castle. I love the story and history behind this map specifically. The Easter egg is also incredibly fun, but also pretty damn difficult to do. The elemental bows in this one, arguably better than the staffs, just in terms of raw power. But again, that's really just based on your opinion. And has also one of the best traps, which is the Tesla arrays that is in the top of the castle. Very cool. And the reintroduction of the freaking Panzers, which make them more imposing than they were in Origins too. So there's that. So yeah, Der Eisen, I have nothing but complete and utter love and respect for this map, because there's a shit ton to do. And although I feel like it's easier to set up in this map than like Mob of the Dead and Origins, for example, so definitely give it credit for that. Although admittedly, a crap ton of doors to open, so yeah. But even so, that doesn't really bother me. Alright, so Zetsubou no Shima. I hate to admit it, but honestly I would put it at average. Yeah, although it's going to be top of average for me, if I'm being honest. Because the thing about the Black Ops 3 maps, I feel like they don't really have any misses. But it's still my least favorite, so there's that. There is a lot to do, but the setup in this one is a little overdone. And if you have been like following Black Ops 3 throughout its inception, you know that Zetsubou was a freaking buggy mess. And I think that is one of the reasons why I'm putting it a little lower than most of the others. Because having those experiences really kept me away from actually playing the map. And it's unfortunate because, you know, playing it today in 2024, it is definitely a lot more polished, as it freaking should be, as it should have been a release. It has its fun. It has its fun, and honestly, a whole ton of different Easter eggs that you could do with it too. So I'll give it its credit for that, but I would still leave it at average personally. Gorod Krovi is, oh my god, this map. Woo, man. Yeah, talk about a shit ton to do, but everything is damn well worth doing as well. So Gorod Krovi, top of pretty good. Yeah, just like the Eisendrache, I absolutely love the setting for this, bro. Like, it is hell on earth. You know, you had the wastes of Stalingrad, and I feel like the story with Nikolai and his older self is probably the most emotional in this map specifically, because you get a little bit of his actual past revealed in the cutscenes. And I know I'm talking about the story and not necessarily the map, but good lord, man. The Ray Gun Mark III was introduced in this. The Dragon Shield is definitely the best shield in Zombies history, in my opinion. And the fact that you could upgrade it as well is also really cool. The Dragon Strike was really cool. The, what do you call it? It's the equipment. If you know what I'm talking about, like using the Iron Fist and your little pet dragon, those were also incredibly fun to use as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to recording this one for sure. for sure. So yeah, Gorod Krovi, top of pretty good. Damn near God tier is very close, I'm not gonna lie. So now we're gonna go into Revelations. This one was definitely where they try to go full fan service on this and bring back a whole ton of different maps in the, you know, throughout Zombies history's past. But I feel like it kind of missed a bit because it honestly feels like a jumbled mess. And it's not that it isn't fun, because it is. In fact, once you get some of the specific masks, you know, within the Kino Theater, you can be pretty damn overpowered, especially if you get the God mask. Dude, downing after 10 hits is absurd. Yeah, like, putting on cheat codes, deadass. But also having to use the Thunder Gun and the Apothecant Servant and being able to obtain both at the same time is absurd. Yeah, like they brought back almost everything good about it, like Zombies Past, because you got the Dragon Shield, you got the Thunder Gun, the Apothecant Servant, the DG4s, or the DG3s, excuse me, and the little Arnies. Like, dude, if you want to feel like a god slaying zombies, this is your map. Like, for real. However, I gotta be honest, I gotta put it on average too. It's a little better than Zetsubou for me, but I still wouldn't put it above like Buried or Moon, for example, so that's just my take on it. Voyage, oh man. This one had a Call of the Dead feel, but didn't really have the fun of Call of the... or Mob of the Dead, excuse me. Yeah. Because you had these long corridors, you know, you're going... The concept of the map is very interesting, you know, with zombie invasion inside the Titanic. Honestly, pretty cool setting, right? However, this is when you are introduced to new characters to where it's like, man, I wish they brought back the old characters. Didn't really care much for the Chaos story, especially considering they didn't really do much with it in hindsight, which I don't think they have any intention of bringing back either, which is kind of like, wow, okay, well, so much for that, right? But yeah, honestly, Voyage of Despair, I mean, this might be controversial, but I'm actually gonna put it right under Numa. I can play it more times than Nuketown, Town 5, and Nacht, but I still wouldn't consider it one of the better maps for me. So 9 is not one of those cases, actually. Probably my favorite Chaos story map, if I'm being honest. Like, the setting in it is also badass. Like, being inside a Coliseum, you got the crowd, you know, like, cheering for you, you know, so long as your affinity is up. Otherwise, they're throwing literal shit at you if you have the thumbs down on the infinity level. Affinity. But although the circuits kiss, you know, like the, what do you call it? Well, you know, the Scorpion Wonder Weapon. Although it's not really that great, it's just more for kind of like a defensive Wonder Weapon. The Gladiators were really cool. Facing against zombie tigers was definitely unexpected. And then dealing with those stupid, what do you call it, the Blight Fathers? Pain in the ass. But the map is easy to understand. You know, you had 4 different settings of like the mythologies, you know, with like the gods and stuff. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So I'll give it those brownie points for sure. And with that, oh man, yeah, I'm putting 9 pretty high up there, bro. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. Yeah. See, but the thing is, do I love Kino that much is the question. Like, in terms of replayability, I have to give it to 9. I think Kino is just mostly a nostalgia pick for me. But, yeah, with 9... Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. There's more fun to be had in 9, personally. And there's more things to do. So, I'll give 9 that credit, at least. Blood of the Dead. Man, this one had so much hate after like a few weeks of the map being released, because I think the main issue with Blood of the Dead is because of how high the expectations are. Due to the hype of Mob of the Dead being so damn good, it was not going to live up to these expectations. So, in a general consensus for like the community, like the hardcore community of fans who consider Blood of the Dead as one of the lesser favorite maps, I am personally right in the middle, because I do not by any means think that it is on the level of Mob of the Dead, but I also wouldn't consider it one of the bad maps, because although a lot of it does feel familiar, excuse me, there is still some creativity, because they added some areas to the map, and you know, which could make it pretty damn big, but honestly pretty creative. So I will put Blood of the Dead right here. Yes. I have more fun with Revelations, but Blood of the Dead is, I consider, right in the middle. So, yeah, I'm comfortable putting it up there. I know it's pretty high up there, but hey, that's just I'm leading with my heart here. So, classified. Okay, you guys are gonna strap in. You're gonna be shocked where I put this. So, for 1, I think it's better than 5. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know now. I think it's better than 5. I like that the teleporters finally give you a freaking, like, source, or like they show you which area you're going to be teleporting to. I appreciated that a lot. And I also appreciate that when you do go to Pack-a-Punch, it's going to be at the Area 51, which is pretty cool. So they added some extra areas to the map. So I give it those brownie points for that reason. And the fact that they also buffed the Winter's Howl and made it pretty good, in, like, you know, especially in like the higher-ish rounds, like, I appreciate that, you know? So for those reasons, because believe it or not, I might have played this map the most in Black Ops 4. So much so that I'm putting it in pretty good. Yeah. It's pretty fucking high up there for me, man. And the main reason is because the replayability, it really felt like what 5 should have been for me. So, yeah. Okay, so Dead of the Night. This one is probably going to be right in the middle for me, because as much as I appreciate the mansion setting for this map, it is very convoluted and confusing to figure out. Like, I don't know. It's, this one's tough. This is actually really tough for me. But, and, you know, if I'm being honest, after, the initial zombie maps that got released on launch for Black Ops 4, I feel like this is when my memory started to kind of like slimmer down. So with Dead of the Night, I am going to actually put it above Zetsubou, but behind Blood of the Dead. Yeah, the Alistair's weapon, I forgot what it was called, but that was pretty cool, because it did a lot of unique things with it. And I'll definitely give it its credit for that. But if I'm being honest, I mean, since I haven't played through Dead of the Night yet in my channel, there is not a lot that I remember from this map. And yeah, like I said, man, I'm keeping it real. So now we're gonna dive into Ancient Evil. This one, for a lot of people, can be a toss-up in between this or 9 as their favorite in the Chaos storyline. And I could understand why. Because Ancient Evil is also very, very interesting and pretty cool to go through. But because you have like the elemental gauntlets, I guess you could call it that. Pretty fun to use, but I do feel like the wonder weapons in general in Black Ops 4 did get nerfed because of how overpowered they really felt in BO3. But with Ancient Evil, yeah. Pretty cool setting. So honestly, I would put it above Ascension. Right up here. Yeah, pretty solid map. A lot of replayability. But again, like, this is kind of where my memory is sort of fading away. At least until I go through these maps on my channel. So now, Verruckt. Or no, not Verruckt. What am I saying? Alpha Omega. Oh my god. Why do I keep saying Alpha Omega is another one of those maps where the community kind of shit on it afterwards because honestly, confusing as hell. You know what? Although it was cool, they had like 4 different types of the Mark, like the ray guns, the Mark IIs. I'll definitely give it brownie points for that. And it is essentially Nuketown Zombies 2, I guess you could say. However, they did expand the map to where you can explore like more different houses as well. And not to mention, you could actually go under the map inside the bunker, which is a pretty cool idea, right? But it does make it overly complicated to maneuver through. Especially because I am considering a lot of like the casual mindset of this as well. So although I would consider myself one of the more like dedicated fans, I feel like I try to be in the middle for these kinds of takes, I guess. So honestly, I put Alpha Omega on average. I feel like a lot of the Black Ops 4 maps are kind of average for me. I'll put it above Zetsubou. But I would play Dead of the Night and Blood before Alpha Omega, if I'm being honest. So there's that. Nacht der Toten. Oh boy. So you kind of see where the lack of creativity was kind of showing, and I mean that in the sense that, I mean, think about it. Like, all of the original characters, or like the premise and ultimate characters maps in Black Ops 4 are pretty much remakes of already existing maps. So, because you have Classified, originally 5. You had Blood of the Dead, that was originally Mob. You had Alpha Omega, which was originally Nuketown Zombies. And then now you have Nacht der Toten, which was originally Call of the Dead. So it's like, I don't know if it was because of crunch time or something like that, which honestly I'm willing to bet that was the case. But Nacht der Toten is just one of those things where I wanted to put more time into it, but this is when the burnout started for me. Like, I played this map maybe 3 or 4 times in my past. Like, it's crazy. And also very unfortunate, because I wanted to like this map, but I am indifferent on it, to be real. So Yeah, unfortunately, I hate to do this, but I'm going to put it at the bottom of average. And with Nacht, I'm actually going to put it at meh. So, okay. We have added every single map from World at War all the way up to Black Ops 4. So now I'm going to go ahead and do some final changes here. So first things first, I feel like Gorod Krovi is up there at God tier. Just because of the creativity that the map really had. And so with that, what else? What else? Yeah, Verruckt should be down there. Tag, I'll give it some credit. I'll put Town above Nuketown. Voyage, Zetsubou. Buried, I will leave it up there pretty good because it's a solid map. 9. You know what? There you go. I think 9 is worthy of being up there too. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, this has officially been my Call of Duty Zombies tier list. I apologize in advance if I have either oversimplified a specific map or underexplained another due to my lack of time put in it. But hopefully this was entertaining for you guys to kind of see. And honestly, I did have fun going through these. So hopefully you guys did as well. But yeah, that's my tier list. Again, from World at War all the way up to Black Ops 4. Have not really touched zombies since, but with the release of Black Ops 6 coming soon, within a matter of months, I am praying to the zombie gods that it's gonna be good. But I'm also not gonna be holding my breath, so we'll see where that comes in. And by all means, you guys are more than welcome in the comments to let me know what spots you have it higher on, or shoot, if you want to even show me like what's a top 5 list of yours is, or would you know, like what would you guys do with this? I honestly want to get you guys' feedback because I am genuinely curious. So that's gonna do it for now, guys. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you for the recent support that you guys have been bringing onto the channel. I am eternally grateful for you guys. So if you like this video, feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe because I do content every single day. And hopefully there's one that catches your attention and makes it worth watching. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you on the next video. So be good and fight on.